How do you talk to your phone like you're talking to a friend? I'm thinking about that saying, drastic times call for drastic measures. And in this harvest season that we are in, it is drastic. And I look up the meaning of drastic and it means rapidly or violently. Rapidly, violently. The rapidly, I feel like, refers to the timing of it all, because with agriculture, you have the seasons, and there is seasons in particular that you have to harvest in or you miss the window. And so in order to get the work completed, you got to get on it. It has to be rapid. And when I think about the word violence, I think about when the Bible talks about the wheat and the tares being separated. It says that the wheat shouldn't be, pulled up before its time, because it would uproot. The tares should not be pulled up before its time, because it would also uproot and interfere with the wheat. And I just think about the violence of that, just the gist of separating the roots from the soil, from their life source. Like, that's death. So rapidly and violently, in these drastic times that we are in, the drastic measures that I want to talk about has to do with separating of the wheat and the tares. And a lot of us are struggling with just the violent separation that is happening, that we actually have to participate in. And I was thinking about putting it in a way that it makes it easier to understand, at least how it has helped me. And if you think about, like, a lot of us, we have not always been saints. We grew up fully dedicated to our sinful lives. And if you think about, like, alcohol, for instance, let's say you have a best friend and the both of you were in agreement with each other, participating in partaking of alcohol. So whatever you did, there was always alcohol involved. So, like, your relationship was built on the alcohol that you had in common. Okay, and let's say that you want to separate yourself from the alcohol and move on with your life and grow out of that and become a better person, but your friend doesn't, or they're not ready to make that decision or give up alcohol yet. And so that doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with your friend, although they may be codependent still. You have to keep moving, you have to keep growing, and to stay in relationship with that friend, or even contact with that friend, would be detrimental to you in moving forward, because the life that you built together, the connection that you built together, was rooted in alcohol and the dependency that you had on it. Let's say, for example, that it's not alcohol. Let's say it's a narcissist. Let's say you and your friend relationship was built on entanglements in common with this narcissist, and you're ready to move on with your life and to outgrow the gaslighting and the manipulation and all of that, but your friend isn't. And then this is a situation where you have to go no contact, like full no contact with the narcissist, because any contact whatsoever. Like, they don't need to see what you're doing. They don't need to see what your kids look like. They don't need to see what color hair you have right now. You got to block this narcissist to completely cut ties, like, because the roots are enmeshed together. And so to keep this friend, they're not the narcissists. Maybe they're just codependent still, and they're not ready to move on. They're not ready to cut the narcissist out of their life. You can't keep them moving forward because, well, for one, you basically put them in a position to be a flying monkey. But anyway, it's impossible for you to move on with your life still connected to this friend who's still connected to this narcissist, because it's a whole root system that's drawing from the same source that you have to separate from. And let's say that this narcissist is not, maybe let's say it's not a narcissist at all, it's a family member. Maybe it's a family member with borderline personality disorder, and that's something that you're no longer affiliating yourself with. I want to make it very clear, listen, it's not that you don't love your friend. It's not that you don't love your family member. It's not that you think that they're a bad person. You cannot grow. You cannot thrive. You cannot live. You cannot elevate if you've got something holding you back, something tying you to your past. And while it is important and necessary to cut off friends who have been attached to you, that would link you to the things that you've been delivered from, it's even more important to cut off family members, especially those that are close to us, siblings who went through the same traumatic childhood that we did. We don't realize that our relationship with these siblings it's a trauma bond. We are trauma bonded to our family, and that is why it is so difficult to let them go. If not for the season of harvest, the wheat and the tares wouldn't be able to be separated. They would not live through it. But drastic times call for drastic measures, and if the family in our lives are not growing on the same path that we are, at some point we have to separate. You know, I think about the root systems where I'm thinking about spider webs. I've seen spiders 3 times today in daylight, and that was confirmation for me. I've got a family thing happening today where I know I need to separate. And if you think about root systems or spider webs, or how everything is like interconnected together and it feeds off each other, and it's a structure that's that holds something in place, and it satisfies and supplies the needs of, you know, the spider or the plant that's growing or whatever it is. And I think about trauma bonds. You know, how when roots get so intertwined together, like, you can't tell one plant from another. And if you have Now, soul ties can be a good thing if they're based on godly connections, but if you have soul ties to people who you endured trauma together, that is a trauma bond. And especially if this is a person that you participated in sin with, that is a trauma bond. So the family that we grew up with, we can't take with us. So it's a blessing actually that we're not accepted in our own homes. Because if they accepted us, then how could we walk away? So the same family that we love and we grew up with, we also happen to be trauma bonded to through demonic soul ties that are actually connected to other altars that are not of God. And we have to completely separate ourselves from them. Like, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It might be your sister who you love, but she still happens to be connected to the things that you were in bondage to. Drastic times call for drastic measures.